There is a carbon cost to the convenience that technology affords us. Could we possibly go without all that convenience for the sake of our Earth, our planet? Or is, on balance, the technology that we use and enjoy worth what we might be costing our planet? We're going to discuss that and a whole bunch more tonight on The Rundown. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Good to see you. My name is David, and I'm here with some amazing folks. Let's make the rounds and say hi. How you doing, Tamara?
I am good. How are you?
Good. No tsunamis by you?
No tsunamis. I'm a little bit inland, so it wasn't as big of an urgency for me. I did have an earthquake today. That was exciting.
Wow. I have a friend in Hawaii who had his bags packed just in case. Thank God. Thank God people are okay. Thank God.
And I feel like I should say, I love earthquakes, but obviously I don't like anybody who has to leave their house or anything like that.
Of course. I remember the only earthquake I ever experienced. I was in LA for a summer, and it was a tiny one, and I happened to be outside, so I didn't feel it. And nothing. I didn't see anything. And then I went back inside, and everyone was running around like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "What?
No one in
my
family felt
my
it
only
today.
earthquake." Yeah. Oh well.
No one had it.
As long as everyone stays safe, that's all that matters. Safe like my friend Tony Mobley over here. How you doing, sir?
I am fine, sir. How are you?
I'm good. He's safe in Atlanta. It's a safe place to be, yeah?
Yes, it's safe in Atlanta. Just
Absolutely.
hot.
Good to see you, sir. And
Glad to be here.
look who's here. Mr. Bill Davis. Fresh off of his Comic-Con whirlwind tour. How was it?
It was that. It was fabulous. It always is. You know, it is a temple to creativity, personal expression, all the things that the arts imbue in us, and it's just fun to be surrounded by so many people who are in exactly the place they want to be, doing exactly the thing they want to be for that week. It is that there is much joy to be had out of Comic-Con because I think of that.
Bill, of all the costumes that you see, how much of that do you think is homemade versus people going out and buying this stuff?
There are kind of tiers, and you get used to it. I look for the homemade. My standard the last 4 years has been, I scan this incredible crowd of monsters and people and everything you can think of going by, and I try to find people who look like they've spent at least 2 hours in a makeup chair. So I'm not looking for the bolt-on costume where somebody puts on a head, a space pilot helmet, and that's all they've done, that and a nice outfit. And some of those people are great when they make their own. That's very creative, and I celebrate that. But to me, it's the effort. And I always find people who just look like they've spent days thinking it through, making it happen. And it doesn't have to be complicated stuff. Early, I remember probably 5 years ago, a lady walked by. She was in her mid-30s, and she had built out of cardboard boxes a Millennium Falcon that was probably 7 feet long and about 5 feet wide. And she had her Yorkshire Terrier positioned in front as a Wookiee. To this day, that is my standard for Comic-Con brilliant cosplay.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. There's a little tiny Wookiee.
Yeah, and the Yorkie was cute. The Yorkie was quite happy, and she was wearing this spaceship and walking down the board, by the edge of San Diego Bay, and you just go, yes, yes,
that's what it's about.
This is your passion. You put the effort in, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's glorious.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Fantastic. Hey, we have a little Wookiee here with us tonight. Hey, Sky.
Hi.
Our
Well, I
little
was thinking
Wookiee.
the phrase, that was said, you never follow kids or puppies. So thanks, Bill. Thanks, Bill.
Puppy.
But I do have a tale to tell with regards to having lived through both the Whittier earthquake and which is closer to Tamara, but this is 20 plus years ago. But the other one was the Northridge. That was an earth shaker, and that did a lot of damage. And I was in Ventura at the time, but boy, we were in the San Fernando Valley, and we had to survive that. And then several years later, we moved to Seattle, and I'm thinking, okay, no more earthquakes. You also give up your sunshine. And then, sure enough, underneath Pike Market, there was a earthquake. And I'm up here, and it rocked and rolled, because we are on the tectonic plate up here, that whole volcanic
So you feel it.
shelf. We apparently I gave up my sunshine and I kept my earthquakes.
Yeah.
Hello, Seattle.
Wow. As long as everyone's safe, that's the most important thing.
And what I learned after I went to Port-au-Prince after the earthquake in Haiti down there was that it's not often the earthquake that kills people. And I think we're going to be talking about this conversation. It's the buildings that people build on top of the earth that fall on you. So there's
Yeah.
is it, so maybe we should all be living outside under a tent.
Possibly. Might be hard to get the news if we were doing that. Outside living in a tent with no access to these technological tools that give us all this information. Here's something. It kind of came out of nowhere. I missed the announcement, and then I saw it in my chat. ChatGPT has rolled out what is it called? Study mode. Learn and study and learn, they call it. So let me bring you in here. So we are in ChatGPT, and I'm going to, no, I don't want to add files. Let's refresh this because it's not giving me my options. Where are my options? Oh, really? I just had this. It's not, Chat is not loading properly today, and it's not giving me the little pull down here. Well, that's okay. I'll show you what
Chat
it
has been doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
it's
know
weird.
why.
It'll
In
be
any
there
case,
and then not.
So here it is, right? So basically, you put in a question, and in the past, so here's the question that they put in, and in the past, it just gives you the answer. When you turn it on study and learn mode, it doesn't give you the answer. Now, I don't know if this is what this is, but this is what Conmingo from Khan Academy is. I mean, this is the whole idea behind Conmingo, is that it doesn't give you the answer. It guides you through how to figure out the answer yourself and how to actually learn. It's interesting to see it here because the way Conmingo was born is that Sam Altman came, or I think it was Sam, but someone from OpenAI came to Sal Khan and said, "Hey, we think that ChatGPT could, or OpenAI, the work that we're doing could be really helpful for Khan Academy," and then they started to build Khanmingo. And now to see it, and it's out. I mean, it's available. You can use it now over at Khan Academy. But to see it now, at least in whatever iteration this is, baked into ChatGPT, that to me is incredibly powerful. I think it's really, really interesting. Have any of you played with it?
I've played with it a little bit. I think rolling it out right before school starts, very smart. I think that it is utilizing the similar technology that they used with Khan Academy, and it's another way to keep people inside your system, which I think is amazing.
You're right.
I'm interested to see who ends up adopting it and using it. K to 12 is notoriously so slow in adopting new technology, that they use a lot of technology in the classroom today that is old technology. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But I do think that college students and grad students will be more likely to kind of gravitate towards it on their own, because they have to really understand the content and want a quicker way of accessing that content. So I think it'll be interesting to see like who uses it, but I think it's super smart that they integrated it into one-stop shopping.
I agree, and I also think that, to your point about who's going to be using it, for I think most students, most learners who are just trying to get the work done. Right. If they don't click this, they get the work done a lot faster. They don't learn as much.
And that's one of the comments that it makes, is the study mode is designed to be engaging and interactive to help students learn something, not just finish something.
But what schools are going to need, and maybe it's already built in, is a way to turn everything else off, and to limit which models or which versions of this people can use. Go ahead, Tony. Oh, you're muted, Tony.
I was just going to say that looking at this, that I see a potential divide from this. And my divide is that I could see where public schools will not embrace this, but private schools will. Yep. Charter schools will. STEM academies will. And so, again, as Tamara said, the traditional schools probably will be left behind and not really sort of embrace this. But I think that this is exciting. I think this is very cool.
So based on, given what you just said, Tony, Laura says that her university has actually gone back to making students write papers in ink on notebook paper and turn them in that way because they're so afraid of AI. God,
will that just grow a generation of copyists who it's on their laptop as a result of AI, and they're just going to copy it into text?
I mean, that's such a defeatist attitude. Like, it's here, guys. Like, what? I mean, you don't have to like it. I appreciate that. You could be scared of it, but you can't just pretend it doesn't exist. That's just crazy.
If you have a culture of learning, like you have a culture of things where the process of getting new information and acquiring actual learning, if that is the goal of your school, then things like this will not be scary.
You know what?
If the goal of your school is to do well on a test and to get the answer, then you need to get the answer.
You're so right
about that. And that's what
the
difference is.
It's not the technology has to change. It's the attitude and the philosophy of the teaching that has to adjust.
Right.
Other than coffee beans and software, Seattle also produces airplanes. And I got to hang out with some engineers last week, and they talked about the old guy, the one with the ponytail and the Birkenstocks. And he used to walk into the group and say, if you design it that way, you're going to kill people. And they would re-engineer something. And the story continued that, unfortunately, that guy retired. And now people aren't recognizing that the CAD drawing doesn't work with the actual physical materials, and it's just throwing everybody off. So this particular engineer works for a subset of the airplane manufacturing industry here in the Pacific Northwest, and they said their president in a big, C-level meeting took his phone out and in 5 minutes said, "Here, we've been talking about this issue for 20 minutes, and here's the solution in 3." And that's from the top down. And if we're learning anything about our education system, it was because it was to support a factory. It was taking people out of the fields and bringing them into big towns to produce the thing. So that to me said, well, if industry is going to adopt it, the unions and the official people will be a little quicker to see if that tool is going to be
Hasn't
helpful.
there always been a bias, though, in terms of reproducibility at the corporate level? I mean, they want a product that can be manufactured and tossed off an assembly line over and over because they're not making 1 or 10 or 1,000. They want to sell 500,000 of these things or 10 million of these things. And I'm reminded of a circumstance I went through. I was building out the hay barn that I bought years ago on a property into my recording studio. And I had learned that for the control room where I was going to be opening microphones and doing that, parallel walls are a bad thing. They create standing waves and you can get all sorts of messy audio from that. So I designed something just on my basic level that had multiple sides, but none of the angles were right angles or even 45-degree angles. They were all really weird, acute angles. And I went to my general contractor and I said, I need you to build this for me, find somebody and draw it out. And he said, we can't build that. And I said, why? Well, it's just because none of the angles are right. We work in the world of framing squares and we work in the world of 2x4s that are rectangular and everything is designed for efficiency of construction and all of the studs come this way and they all cut that way. What are you going to do? And I eventually had a friend of mine, he said, I know a guy who probably can do that for you. And I said, who? He said, well, Bob. Bob lives up in the mountains in Payson, but he's been a construction guy for like 75 years. And let's call Bob. And we got Bob down. And sure enough, Bob showed up in my studio and said, yeah, hang on. He got himself an envelope and he started making calculations on the back of the envelope. And he built me my design. And it worked beautifully, but nothing was standard. And to me, that is the challenge here. If you want stuff, creative videos, anything that is like the other ones out there, you want efficiency and you want to stay within the parameters that have been set for those things. If you want creativity, if you want to do something that is honestly different and has a potential for being unique, you need to get away from the framing square and you need to do something different. And that to me is the challenge of this next era, because these kids are coming up with these tools that are fabulous, but also constraining. And we just need to, we have to figure out how to work within this.
And I think I couldn't agree with you more. And I love, well, as you were speaking, Bill, I was analogizing the square corner with education and how in the box it is, how it
has been in the past,
right? Which again, for the industrial age, it worked beautifully, maybe. Yeah. But that now we need to think far more creatively about that. So here I was wrong before. They've changed the interface a little. Before there was a plus if you wanted to add files, and then there was something else. I forget what it said there. Can't remember, but there was something else there which allowed you to choose what you were going to do. So you can either just do / and then I'll do study and learn. So this is what you get. And now I have a little math problem here. I'm terrible at math. Rectangular swimming pool is 25 meters long, 10 meters wide. See, I'm already lost because I don't know meters. The pool has a uniform depth of 2 meters, except for a rectangular section in the center that is 15 meters long and 6 meters wide, where the depth increases to 3.5 meters. Basically, how long will it take in hours, minutes to completely fill the pool? We're doing this in study. And so, all right, let's tackle this step by step. We need to figure out the total volume of water in the pool, then divide that volume by the inflow rate. We're not going to go through this whole thing, but look at this. I mean, this is beautiful. Break the pool into 2 parts, tells me how to do it. And then it says, hey, do you see why we need to add the extra depth for just the middle section? And then if I say, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see what, perfect, you've got it. All right, so now let's do that calculation. Can you work out what that equals? Where's my, oh, there it is, sorry. Need a little help. And of course, let's multiply it step by step. It's still giving, I wish it weren't giving me the answer off there, but that's okay.
So as you are the laboratory rat in this experiment, David,
Yeah.
I just remembered my wife saying, I just need it to work. I'm in a room of 30 kids and if she were to use this software and they moved the button, she already can't find the buttons because they changed it or the update or something. And let me finish because the punchline is yesterday I'm listening to Mid Journey, the engineers, they do a weekly office hours experience that on Discord, and I hang out with them just listening. They said, oh yeah, we have stopped doing launches. They now do a end of the week. They tell you what they've done because they are changing something every day. Right. The interface, the UI, the UX. And it's like, oh yeah, I've lived my whole life with software when engineers hide something or break something and forget to tell you. So it's like, I pity the teachers.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, this is actually a much better interface, what they did here. If you just know to use / you can pretty much do anything you want. But yeah, you're right. They kind of changed that, and I didn't.
Well, and it might be that they have days that they're dropping things, which is like Facebook used to do all of their updates on Tuesday. So things would look different every single Tuesday. There'd be slightly a different change. And once you kind of knew that, then you weren't as shocked by it.
Right. So I just typed in, oh, see, this is interesting. Look at this. So I typed in, just give me the answer. That math problem from before, and it said sure thing. But it didn't give me the whole answer. It just gave me the answer to this one piece. Let's see if I tell it, just give me the answer to the question. Whoops. So I can move on. Let's see what it says there. It will take 21 hours and 10 minutes to completely fill the pool. Look at that. It just gave me the answer. That's interesting.
But here's the thing. This is where, as educators, we have to be different, right?
Yeah.
We have to now not just say, we can say, listen, a calculator can give you the answer. But if you aren't, as a math teacher, teaching the kids how to use their calculator the first time they get it and understand all of the different functions that it does, then you're not doing your job. So the job is to say, we know that we can just ask it the answer and it can give us the answer. What we want to teach you is the skills to ask more and to go deeper.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have an assignment that says, what I'm looking for is how deep you can get into asking it so many questions, not the answer, right? You have an assignment that really drills down how to go deeper and how to think more, and that's vital for kids to know, and we have to be doing that. We have to have those
We do have
lessons.
to be doing that. We're not. I mean, I have a
know.
17-year-old in school, and she just wants to get it done.
Right.
And so she will be the one to write to this tool, just give me the answer to the question so I can move on. And because she knows that she's never going to need to know how long it will take to fill a pool because she's going to pay someone to be able to figure that out.
Right.
So, I mean, that's... so I'm a little disappointed that it gave me the answer. I don't think in Conmingo it will. I think in Conmingo it makes you work for it. I don't think that... So that's different here. It's a very interesting new tool that they put out. We did finally get agent mode, which I used once. I don't think I gave it a good prompt because it didn't really do anything for me. And I honestly haven't had a reason to use it since then. So
I gave it a prompt that I have given regular ChatGPT, and regular ChatGPT was doing it, and it timed out before it actually did anything.
Oh, really?
It literally didn't do anything.
Interesting. Oh, well. So check it out. Go to ChatGPT, chatgpt.com, and then either type /study or click on that plus button and you'll get it. All right, what's next? Oh, how many of you
David,
are super intelligent? Wait, Tony, did I miss you?
I just wanted to know, is the agent activated for everyone?
It is rolling out for Plus users. I don't believe it's available for free users yet. And I don't know if it's available for all Plus users, but I got it last week.
It seems to come and go.
Oh, really?
Like I had it and then I tried it and it timed out and then it wasn't there.
You know, what I'm waiting for, and this may not come, but what I'm waiting for is for chat to be good enough so that I don't have to make these choices at all. So, for example, right now, if you really want to use these tools well, then you have to choose, first of all, the right model to use. And there are lots of models to choose from. And then you have to choose the right, tool to use, deep research. So, should I use O3 deep research, or should I use study and learn, or should I use Canvas? Right now, the choices are overwhelming to me. And so I don't frankly know when should I just type into ChatGPT and when should I type into agent mode. So I'm waiting for the day when all this stuff is smart enough to just let me just type and it will tell me what tools it should be using.
I blame it on ketchup. Remember when there used to be one kind of ketchup? Go into a supermarket aisle now in a good store and look at the ketchup aisle.
Yeah, but
72 different kinds of ketchup.
But it's all about Heinz. I mean,
well, that's just it. You go back to whatever you're
but
familiar with, and the rest of them, they're all jockeying for permission. And maybe you want the spicy ketchup with anchovies for this meal. Maybe not. I'll never try it.
That sounds awful. All right.
Doesn't it?
Can we please talk about how super intelligent we all are? Is Mark Zuckerberg. What?
Well, I have okay, yeah, let's do the Zuckerberg and then I have an exercise to
Okay.
to test that question.
Oh, to test how smart we are.
Yeah.
So Mark Zuckerberg says he published a letter outlining his vision for personal super intelligence. I've watched a few videos on this. I read a few articles. I'm gonna be honest. I don't get it. I don't really understand.
Did you read his letter?
Well, yes. And he talks about how it's going to help us be a better friend. And I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm fully grasping the personal piece of this. It doesn't sound like he's talking about using super intelligence to be more productive. It sounds like he's using it or wants us to be able to use it to enhance our personal lives. And I don't get
exactly. So you
exactly.
actually just said it.
Really?
You said it exactly right. So what he's saying is that everyone else is focusing on how ChatGPT can be used and how AI can be used as a productivity tool. It's going to save us so much time in doing emails and organizing our lives and doing tasks that we don't want to do. And what he's saying is that's kind of not the end all be all from their perspective. From their perspective is if we had something that could act as our super intelligence, that could be kind of an extension of us, extension of our brain, then we wouldn't have to use it to waste time doing just productivity things. It could be used so that we can pursue our goals, pursue our dreams, and it could be part of us, so helping us become more empowered as individuals. It's totally on brand for Mark Zuckerberg, right? This is exactly the guy, like it's completely like the thumbs up, the putting a thumbs up where it genuinely has good intent behind it, where you're like, listen, it's so amazing that, we're not going to have a thumbs down. We're just going to have a thumbs up. And that's going to make everybody so happy. And it has now shown that most people are depressed because there's a thumbs up and they're not getting enough likes. Yeah. But it feels like, but you're right. It is completely opposite of what he's saying is that it will be an equalizer where everybody can have a super brain because they will have a device to help them, that will get to know them, that will understand what they're thinking, and then empower them. If they're a little low in something like math, that's okay because you have a super brain AI to help you so that you can go and pursue your goals.
And I believe
sounds to me like the Zuckerberg version of the me they transition that most reasonable people go through. I mean,
Right.
when you're young, it's all about me. You form a relationship somewhere that's important to you, and all of a sudden you have to switch the me to we because there's somebody else I have to take into consideration. Eventually, and in a lot of people, not everyone, but family comes along, and suddenly everybody's, well, the heads of household, it goes to they. It sounds like Zuckerberg's finally hitting the theys. He's spending a lot of time thinking about, it's not just about what I want, and it's not just about what the person next to me and I want. It's now he's starting to process all of the things that are changing in terms of their effect on the outside world, not because of regulation, but because he's starting to feel it. I know I went through those stages.
The
and I
thing
think most
is,
people do.
it is empowering, right? And it is equalizing. So the concept of it, it's easy to kind of laugh at it because it seems so anti what we've been talking about for the last 6 months. But what it's generally saying
No,
is,
I'm
look,
laughing at it because I think it's stupid.
no, but here's the thing. What it's saying is on its surface is that it will equalize people. It will allow you to have a superpower, to be more personalized, more accessing something that it'll kind of equalize us out. You won't have to be a super brain because you can have support when you need it, and it's more of a support thing so that you can spend your time, instead of doing tasks and things that you don't want to do, you can spend your time doing things that you really are interested in doing, things you want to pursue. So on its surface, that sounds great, but the problem is that that's exactly how all of the Zuckerberg things happen, and what we're failing to really say, which is why he would care about it. He doesn't really care that I have personal goals that I want to fulfill, but that gives him more information to target me in different ways, to sell me things and to utilize my data. I mean, and that's it's not a business move. His letter is not a business move. It's kind of like, look how cool this is. Like, we have this cool thing. And I think technology, if you talk to engineers who are in the depths of trying to kind of figure things out, the intent of a lot of technology that goes awry or that is really helpful and useful is generally good intent. Like, the people who are programming it are like, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? And if you've ever been in a situation where you're working with engineers and you do it yourself, you're like, it'd be so cool if my app could do this. And here you're able to do that. So in theory, it sounds great, but given the track record, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be as ideological as that letter was. I could be wrong.
And I
hope I'm
believe
wrong.
he said that.
My reading this week has been obviously the Reader's Digest, because I'm that age, and it talked about what's the big prize, the Peace Prize that you get, but it's from
Nobel.
the person,
Nobel.
Yeah, Alfred
And
Nobel
again,
Peace Prize.
and they made their money because he invented
Dynamite.
Okay, well, there you go. Good intentions. Good intentions.
Little guilt there.
So, and that's where I'm looking at the article, and it says company has shelled out billions of dollars hiring top AI researchers, engineers in the recent weeks, and Wall Street will listen for what. I love Wall Street getting there. Yeah, we're the authority. We're going to listen in and tell you, interpret what's really happening. But it's like, I'm thinking, well, is this a good use of resources, or is it better to put people on Mars?
Playing the
Camera
other side of that,
right.
though,
Go ahead.
There's something really interesting that we've been spending. Every other company has been looking at one thing, and they've said, what is the one thing we're not looking at? So I have to, like, whether or not I think it's a good idea or not a good idea, I always think it's a good idea when people are thinking in different ways of using things.
We're humans.
Spawns that creativity. There's something about that I think is worthy, even though I'm dubious about some of it. I think I always love when we get other conversations, because that's going to lead to the next conversation. And that is the thrust of that letter. The thrust of that letter is technology and change happens. And we've seen, he goes back 200 years and, says, look, we are shifting and we are here. And these are the things right now we're focusing on the very immediate, and he's looking past that immediate. So that is going to spawn conversation and creativity across the entire industry, I think.
Or he's just trolling for psychographics, which is the advertising
possibly.
study of who's
David,
who
I think
out
it's
there.
time. I think it's time for the exercise. Can I do the exercise?
Do the exercise.
Okay, this is what is this? Tell me what this is. Can you see the image? Is it showing up on the screen?
No,
It
you
looks like a
didn't
big
tell
stain
me
in the
you were
middle of a
doing this.
concrete
Hold on a
patio.
second. Wait. I have to get a
Wait.
scene ready. I don't know if I have this. Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
No,
It
you
didn't
Water
show up?
shadow stain.
I just have
Oh,
to
I
get
see.
it.
You're seeing it in Zoom, but I
No,
didn't.
no. Hold on. I'm gonna get it for you. Just bear with me.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, again, I will.
Dog.
There you go.
Okay. One at a time. Tamara, what do you see?
Either water shadow stain and a dog.
Okay, Bill, what do you see?
Well, it could be a badly conformed chess piece, maybe a pawn. I can think of about 20 things that it vaguely reminds me of.
Tony,
But it looks like a water stain on a concrete porch, and we need to get on that because it's ugly.
Tony, if you and I were sitting out in the field, we're looking up at the clouds and we go, what's that look like? What's that look like? That's the exercise, the game that we're playing here. What does this Rorschach test, imagine?
Oh wait, it looks like a bird too.
You have a vision, Tony?
I'm just gonna say I guess it looks like a dog.
Okay, David, do you have a image?
Yeah, the first thing I saw was a dog also.
Okay, this is the deck that I'm sitting on right now. This last week, I pressure washed it and I was moving the moss around and it turned into an art project. I gave this image to Facebook. 20 friends showed up with all kinds of examples like what you just said. And
Yeah,
it was a
big fan.
relational building opportunity. It was wonderful. People that I haven't heard from around the world where it's a dog. And they started mimicking and miming these things. I gave it to ChatGPT and it said, it's a pressure washed deck that has problems. You need to fix it.
This is why it will never fix.
Well, Vic says it's either
ChatGPT
a
will never
poodle or a
replace
lab.
human.
So
It's a what?
Vic says it's a poodle or a lab. John says it looks like a puddle.
At the top, it looks like a bird on top of rocks
My
or a
that's what
fountain.
Yeah, that's what my wife did. She had there was an eagle going a crow going one way, and then the other. Most of it was a dog, and then they got very personal with what Hanna-Barbera character it was, or Yogi Berra.
The white
Calling
spot
Dr.
at the top
Rorschach.
looks like
Calling
an
Dr.
eye.
Rorschach.
Yeah. So again, the imagination that we have that's the creative test. I'm going to be throwing this at any AI from now on and see what my large language model, if it's going to really love me or if it just wants my money.
Well, now see, if you had put that into Meta's new super personal, whatever the heck they're building,
They would have already had my money.
It would have told you whatever you wanted to hear, just to make you feel good about yourself.
There you go.
All right. So I don't have a problem today, but I do have show and tell.
Okay.
So this past weekend, I was in Palo Alto with my brother, and he worked on the what is this car called? What's the Google car that they bought the company?
Well, that's two different questions.
What's
Google has a
What's the
well,
name of their? I just blanked on
Waymo.
the name. Waymo.
Waymo?
Yes, Waymo. So he used to work on the Waymo car. And
okay, because
so
Google also has their own version.
Yeah. So I took my first ride in a Waymo car. And here's what I'll tell you. Seeing it pull up and drive away was weirder than watching it drive me. Like watching it when I was sitting in the car here, okay, I was, it's like being on a train. Like, you're not the one driving. Okay, no big deal. But watching it actually drive away, that was a little crazy. I mean, I will say, it was fun. Here it is just kind of driving away. All right, see you later. Or wait, maybe this one. Yeah, there it goes. No one's in the car. Like just...
My favorite is as it comes up, the little cap beanie up on top has your initials on it.
Does
So
it
you
really?
feel it. Oh yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah. That's the best
Oh, well.
part. Well, not the best, but it's one of them.
That was my show and tell. All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the carbon cost of convenience. I want to start with sort of a big picture and an unfair question. And the unfair question is the I think we can all agree that technology has afforded us tremendous convenience, from purchasing to communication to work to connection. I mean, just everything. The convenience that we have having a supercomputer in our pocket, in our hand, the ability to talk to people all over the world with the click of a button. So let's agree that technology has given us tremendous convenience. The unfair question is it worth the hidden environmental costs? And I know that we haven't yet established what those are, but I'm not sure that we need to. I think it's pretty well known that all these things that we do, all these things that we create. Sorry, I jumped out there for a second. I actually on the drive home today, I was having a conversation with ChatGPT about a project I'm working on. And then I stopped it and I said, actually, I have a separate question. How much of a carbon footprint am I leaving right now by having this conversation with you? And its answer was, don't worry about it, David. You're fine. Like, this one conversation is not going to tip the scales. But when you realize that there are millions and millions of people having this one conversation, that's when it starts to really make a difference. So I guess the unfair question I want to start with is it worth it?
Did chat respond? I'll give you that second perspective, or did you interpret that?
What do you mean?
Well, it said, Dave, don't worry about it.
Right.
And then you continued the statement, but think of the billions of people that are doing this.
No, it said that.
It did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here I actually have the conversation. So let me see. This conversation that we're having right now, and the research that you did to create this briefing, what's the environmental impact of this? And then it says, that's such an interesting question. The environmental impact of our conversation research I did is actually pretty small. Each query uses a tiny amount of energy. That energy consumption translates into a small amount of carbon emissions. When you scale it up to millions of users, it adds up. But major AI companies are working on making data centers more efficient. So while there's definitely an impact, it's relatively minimal. So then I asked, so is that the truth for AI in general, that it consumes less than other technologies? Because he said that the impact is relatively minimal, especially compared to a lot of other tech-related activities. And then he said, see what I just did there? Then he said, it really depends on what you're comparing it to. On an individual query level, AI doesn't use that much energy. When you look at the bigger picture, it can be quite energy intensive. And then I asked, are there things that those of us who use AI regularly are things that we should be doing to lower our carbon footprint? This was actually an interesting answer. It says one of the easiest things you can do is be mindful of how often you're using AI-powered services and keeping your queries efficient and to the point, which made me think back to all the times that I say please or thank you or all those filler words. That's making it work harder in tiny, tiny ways. And then I asked about the idea that convenience, our human convenience, and the conveniences specifically that technology offers outweighs the carbon costs. And it gave me a very unhelpful answer, saying it's a balancing act on the one hand, on the other hand, . So what do you all think?
The problem is it's so veiled. You really don't know. You remember the first time you turned on some Wi-Fi sniffer and you found, oh my God, how did I get 40 different things pinging my router? Where are they coming from? And you look through and you say, oh, my Blender's talking to it, whatever. I'm just saying there's a ton of stuff going on that it's outside of our daily thought. To me, I read an article maybe 2 years ago about how as they continued to build data centers, that they were kind of following the Amazon model of we're going to lose money for 10 years. I mean, we're vast amounts of money because we think this idea is eventually going to get traction and it's going to create huge fortunes. And Jeff Bezos was right about that. But those 10 years of significant multi-million-dollar losses to get to the point where it had the value that investment could usurp and go way beyond. The data center thing worries me in that same way. I mean, I've heard statistics that, 3 to 5 years, and there's not going to be enough power at the exponential rate of people wanting to get data back out of these intelligent agents, if I can put that in big scare quotes.
Well, in scary concepts, let's take a look at your analogy, Bill. Amazon, what did it replace? Sears, Target. What did it replace? You going to the mall, to the shopping center? What did it replace? I mean, we as a consumer had to be trained. So now that a human as a species has been trained in a new way of consuming and acquiring, will this AI concept go even faster because now we are more malleable, maybe.
I can't be the only person though with a net negative Amazon purchase. I mean, I buy something for $2, and for some reason, because I've got a good account and they like me, they'll get it here by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you're going, you can't pay a person. You can't source that thing from offshore and get it to me for $2 without losing value. You just can't do it. I know you can't do it.
Well,
but they'll do it.
Milk is always at the back, and it's a lost leader because at the back of the grocery store, because you have to go past all of the other stuff that is the easy grab and the things on the end caps. That's where the profit margin is in the crackers and the snacks.
Yeah, they for sure make money off of me going, offer that $2 thing, because the truth of the matter is, even if you want to go to stores, it's a lot of driving around, because many stores that used to have the things that you needed simply don't. And so they're not in stock and they're not available. So that time commitment, when you can get something the same day, and I don't know, Bill, in California, it's amazing. When I'm on the East Coast, it's not as quick, but I can order it by 10 a.m. and it'll be here at 2. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's another thing that's interesting. I read a story just the other day. A woman on the news was talking about the fact, I guess she's psychologically adjacent. She's saying that she's seeing a lot of difficulty with the young people these days because they don't find much reason to interact with other people. They're online when they're home. They're literally not going out into the world and talking to other people. And they're not developing those skills. Everything is easy enough to click and get. And so you're getting this class of kids who are sedentary, unsocialized, and it's a pretty wide-ranging, according to her, it was a pretty wide-ranging group of people that we're training into being kind of vegetative. They're playing their game and they're calling Amazon to get something, and they're calling DoorDash to get their food in, and they kind of bunkerize themselves as young people in whatever they've managed to sustain, whether it's from their parents' money or whatever, maybe some online activity, but they're just not going out. It was an interesting sociological concern that she was raising, and she's really concerned about it.
But
I think it is concerning, and I don't think it's just kids. Like, I know for me, the COVID drastically changed my life at 110%. Many ways for the good. I don't want to go back. I actually don't want to go back into an office. I really like working from home. I like being close to my family. I like all this. But I've also realized that there has been large swaths of time where I did not have to leave my house. And I was interacting with people, and I felt like I was being very social. It's definitely hurt my health. Now I have to really plan my day so that I am going for walks, that a good portion of my morning is going and doing my journal. And I leave my house to do my journal in a public space so that I can be interacting with people. It has to be a conscious effort. So I think that that's more than just kids. I think kids are being growing up into this. But a lot of the kids that I know too, they're not as interested in digital spaces. They're like, you know what? Don't put me online, and I'm not that interested. They're out. Some kids are out way more than I think we think they are. So I think it definitely has shifted how we interact as a species. There's a big difference, and some of it, again, for the good. I love it, and I love that I don't have to go out. And when I do go out, I have a very short list of people who I will see in person, which is a drastic difference to what you used to do, which is just meet everybody for coffee or breakfast or dinner. That was the thrust of being in the entertainment industry. You had a breakfast, lunch, and dinner with people you didn't care about. I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with people I do care about.
The John is mentioning in the chat that technically we pay $150 a year for shipping from Amazon, and the cost is the distance from your neighbor to your doorstep. Side note: fridges are in back and sides for food safety, not racketeering. Okay, but then Victor also added to you, Bill. The supply and delivery chain is already in place. You're getting same day delivery is just making those chains more cost effective and efficient.
Could be. I did a bunch of videos. It was really interesting about supply chain for PetSmart. When I spent probably 10 years doing things for them. And it was interesting watching the system develop. And the system of getting things into a store is highly complex, highly computerized, and multifaceted, because we talked a lot about hard goods and soft goods and livestock, because they have fish and things like that they sell in the stores. And the main DCs, the fill DCs for high turn things like dog food that just constantly gets churned. And then specific things like bringing in lizards, which are feeders for some reptiles and things. I mean, it's just really fascinating. One of the things that was really most fascinating was an efficient assortment study they did that took months. And it went over talking about how many different kinds of products are going to be on the shelves. And they were very scientific about this. For example, in fish tanks, we're going to need something for someone who wants a small one, a medium, and a large one. And within those subcategories, we want to get down to 3: a premium choice, a middle-of-the-road choice, and an economy choice, and trying to figure out how to do this efficient assortment so that every inch of shelf space maximize the amount of profit was a very scientific undertaking for them. And it's why you don't go in and see any more of these, the old kind of Ace Hardware store where there was just thousands of bins of little things and you could go get 2 of something and things like that. Now you're going to, if anything, buy a blister pack of 5. And I'm confused as to why they did that, because there's never been a project for me that I needed 5 toggle bolts on. 2, yes, 4, yes, maybe 8, never 5. It used to drive me crazy. But it's just that whole thing. It drives me nuts.
And Amazon's the way in making delivery more efficient, 1-day, 2-day delivery, they're using AI to figure out or to imagine what people are going to order, and then to make sure that those things are strategically placed around the country.
Well, and they target you, right? So I love the Amazon ads that target me. They are 110% right. I do need that thing that I didn't know I needed, right? And then that gets me there. And if I buy the thing, it's already there in stock. It's available same day. But I find that I end up going online and looking what can get to me same day.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can get the same thing same day versus overnight or 2 days, you're going to pick the same day thing.
Absolutely.
So that ability to search in that way is driving you to the stock that they have available. So that is a perfectly really good study in utilizing data to set yourself up for success and taking out the overhead
David,
cost.
So Sky, let me just throw this one
got
comment
statistics
in, Sky.
in here.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, go.
And so Vic says, I use Amazon, and I'm right with you, Vic. I'm the same way. I use Amazon for almost everything except groceries, which Walmart delivers. That has helped me place a higher value on in-person interactions when I choose to venture out. That sounds like you, Tamara. But my question about the cost of convenience is what Vic and I do of using more digital resources, we're leaving a higher carbon footprint probably by doing this for our convenience, and we could argue that it's so that we can have deeper relationships. So when we do put the time in it, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Sorry,
for
Sky,
me it is, and I go. Oh,
No, you started down the path of in our briefing, you've got some facts and figures here, and I don't feel the I feel like if you could read the ones that you would like to talk about, there are some physical realities that cows do not come from aisle 7. They do originally start in a field somewhere, and then butchering happens, and then. So this cost of a thing are some of these things in this document I had not thought about, and I would like you to share them if you'd be willing.
Well, I mean, which ones jumped out at you? You know, things like
5.3 billion phones are discarded in 1 year.
yeah,
Many are still functional.
yeah.
That one kind of smacked me in the head.
So making a smartphone, 83% of the carbon emissions come from the manufacturing, not the daily charging. 62 million tons of e-waste in 2022, of which only 22% is recycled. 5.3 billion phones were discarded in 1 year. Short lifespans, planned obsolescence. Here, you know, part of the challenge here, I was thinking about this when we were talking about Amazon and shipping, is that by Amazon making their shipping more efficient, they are helping to reduce the carbon footprint. That's absolutely true. At the same time, these companies are not making these choices, I don't think, to reduce their carbon footprint. Apple doesn't make a new phone every year in the hopes that we won't buy it and get rid of our old one. They want us to get rid of our old one, and we all do. We don't all do it, but
not necessarily.
many of us. Go ahead.
But you have the choice not to, right?
Of course
So like I went from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 15. I will use these until it wasn't dead. It was fine. Right? So I mean, you can make different choices. We can make recycling easier. Those are things that we can do. I am absolutely not willing to give up. And I go a step further than all of you because I go to Amazon Fresh, which means all of my things are right there in my Amazon account. I can literally just order from there and pick it up, or I can just go in. And the people there, if you want like good customer service, like it's amazing. They make the personal experience almost seamless. I can order something online. I don't like it. I take it right back to Amazon Fresh. They give me $10 off on my $10 off for me to stay in their store and shop around. So I think that they are a perfect example of creating these seamless experiences. Every time this comes up, and I have people in my community like, I'm never shopping at Amazon. I'm like, you do that. Right. You do you. I cannot like imagine, because I've even tried, being the driver to elderly people. I go and I do the rounds of things, and it makes me crazy how much we end up driving all of the places and then coming home and I help them order it online, which we could have saved.
Okay, and so to that point, John says, in kind of arguing with what I was saying before, and neither of us are entirely wrong, but is delivery really worse? The Amazon truck is electric, propane, and carries many items. Me driving is gasoline carrying thousands of pounds for a handful of items. Okay, yep. Yes, that's entirely possibly true. I just, for the first time, had an electric Amazon truck delivered to me. I've literally just for the first time, I think last week. And you're right. Victor says the return policy, the Amazon return model is unparalleled. That's a whole other piece, by the way, of this, because what the stuff that we return doesn't go back to Amazon and then get resold.
Right.
It's either thrown away, or it's put on pallets and then sold to the highest bidder. So there's a tremendous amount of waste there also.
Yeah, particularly in clothing and things like that. The number of clothing things that get tossed off shelves and then thrown on an island somewhere offshore is crazy. In your briefing things, I was interested, this big tech leads in clean energy procurement, for example, Google and Amazon, but growth is still outpacing progress. And that to me is the key here. We continue to consume more and more and more as consumption becomes easier and easier and easier. I mean, my gosh, I punch a button on my phone and something shows up in 3 hours sometimes now. And so it gives a whole new meaning to the idea of impulse purchasing. And a percentage of my impulse purchases, I look back on and go, yeah, I really shouldn't have done that. There was another
Now
way
we
to
know
get around
who's the fault. It's Bill. Stop
It's
doing
all
that.
Bill's fault.
Stop.
Exactly.
Stop.
Bill's fault.
Here's the guy who owns two phones, right? A business and a personal phone. And so I retire my current phone and it turns it into the personal phone so that my business phone is deductible.
Yeah, I used to be able to hand my phones down to my girls. Now they have the nicer phones than I do.
Right, exactly.
Hey, I will tell you though that method works because now my son is handing me his iWatches.
There you go. Perfect.
I'm being handed up, down, back. The reciprocation is not a bad thing.
So we
Give
were
it up a little bit for Apple for saying turn it in and we'll pack it up and give you something for it.
Right.
At least to get it back in the recycling chain. I'm sure that doesn't cover all of them because they sell so many gizmos, but some of them at least.
So I want to jump back real quick to what John said before. Online shopping, if it's done right, if delivery is consolidated, can absolutely reduce the amount of carbon that we're putting into the atmosphere. Unfortunately, there are trade-offs. This is the theme of tonight's little discussion, is that it's all about the trade-offs, right? So yes, if you're packaging stuff, if you're delivering stuff in a consolidated manner through Amazon or any of these other places, you can save a significant amount of CO2. On the other side, if you do, as Tamara and I do, express shipping, or you want it that day, or if you are returning things, and all the packaging. Let's not forget all the packaging that goes into ordering. I mean, the number of boxes, the number of packing stuff, and this is not to say that Amazon is doing a terrible job of packing. I mean, I guess you could make that argument sometimes, but everything that they send, I did for our school. I ordered about $9,000 of furniture and goods and things like that on Amazon. It must have come in at least 100 different packages, and it didn't have to. I mean, a lot of it was crayons and colored pencils, and they could have packed all that together, but for whatever reason, it didn't, and there was a tremendous amount of waste. So I saved it on the delivery because it was much of it was consolidated. The trade-off was in the packaging.
But it depends. So they have gone through considerable lengths to continue to lessen the packaging. What it was 5 years ago is not what it is now. It's already better packaging. And then the next step is you. What did you do with it all? Did you recycle it? Did you use it again? So that's part of it, is that we're equally responsible for
you're absolutely right.
for the waste.
Yeah, Tony, go for it.
I just wanted to say that, David, in your case, it may be that it was not all coming from the same place. That might be a factor as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
Why you had so many boxes.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I'm sure it wasn't all coming from the same place.
And sometimes packaging is circumstantial. I just bought a little sit-stand desk. My wife has gotten a laptop from her new work and to go with her. One's a Mac and one's a PC. So she needed to be able to raise and lower a desk. So I got this thing. And I'm thinking, why is every part in here in a poly bag, then buttressed with cardboard and something? And then I realized, it probably came from offshore on shipping, and they want to make it as moisture-proof as possible so the darn thing doesn't rust. So you end up with 40 or 60% of the packaging being recyclable, but then this other styrofoam and plastic pile of gunk that is there to preserve the quality of the stuff, but is almost impossible to recycle. So,
and that's the shining the light on the conversation, Dave, that you are saying it is complicated, but that we're discussing it. And yes, I have an electric car. We've had it for 10 years. My friend who works in the petroleum industry just hates me for it because he says, you're offsetting your energy someplace else, don't you? You're not really saving the planet by driving a fully electric car because that energy had to be created someplace else and then plugged into your vehicle. So there's that argument there. Are we doing wind power? Are we doing solar power? Are we doing other things that could not use fossil fuels? Well, it would put him out of work. So maybe that's why he hates electric cars.
We can also choose with Amazon, which I never do because I want them same day or the next day. If you're ordering multiple things, you can click the box that says, please do on my delivery day
Right.
so that everything is
Put it all together.
consolidated. So
Absolutely.
like there are things we can do and we're not willing to do. I'm not willing to do them all the time. If I need it, I
Hashtag.
probably do
Start
need
a
it.
hashtag movement, Tamara. Be responsible.
I mean, I'll use
Hashtag-
my phone until it absolutely, until, 2 or 3, 4 years. I'll use my phone for a long time. But,
But
some of the other is based on time and
until MySpace
know.
comes back.
But I just want to, Tamara, what you just said is, on the one hand, yes, you and I, we need to do some repentance for,
Right,
needing things same
exactly.
day. But we're not obsessive compulsive. That didn't happen in a vacuum, is what I'm trying
Right.
to say, is that Amazon has taught us to be that way a little bit. I don't mean to be dumping. I'm not dumping this on Amazon. I'm just saying that there's an interplay or a partnership going on here, and technology is, as much as it is advancing us and making our lives better, it is also teaching us to be less patient, to want it right now, and to do so even at the expense of the environment and the world that we live in. And sure, technology will, I think, in the long run, probably make it better than it is now. It can only be better.
I think it will, and I think that it's so easy to blame Amazon, which is a fairly new technological company that has been, we were starting with fast food way before Amazon, which came in styrofoam packaging, and the convenience. So our Amazon came along at a time when we were already starting to see the benefits of being trained that things can happen now. If I don't have to wait for dinner time, I can just drive through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that technology has definitely shifted things around. I think you're right. I mean, I think it is very complicated. The other side of that is that I get to spend more time with my family if all I have to do is do this shopping that has to be done anyways can be done very quickly. Now I can do something else, right? So our lives are very different now. And Amazon was definitely a player in that. Amazon didn't just shift us getting things quickly. It literally shifted the entire way that we shop. We no longer go to a big box store and ask an expert any of our questions where their vested interest is in selling us something. Now, if I want to know something, whether I'm going to buy it on Amazon or not, I can go to the reviews and I can look and see people who've really bought it, what they think. So they shifted more than just our packaging. They've shifted literally how we shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything about shopping is different.
David,
It's also
talk
good to
about
understand the
repentance.
concept of
Bill,
friction.
let
I
me
think.
interrupt for 1 second, Bill. I'm sorry. I'm
Go
so
for it.
sorry. Scott,
No,
go ahead, and then
no.
Bill, I'm going to come back to you, and Vic has a comment for you. I'll pull up Bill.
David talked about
Great.
you talked about repentance. I remember the day once upon a time when, if I still had checks in the checkbook, obviously I must still have money. Well, that
Yeah.
analogy has been modified to, well, there's still plastic on the card, so I must have money. But I guess what I'm hearing is accountability for what is the real cost of a thing. And I love that we're discussing it and not being ignorant that because I still have checks, I must have money.
Yeah, you know what, Sky? I'm not sure if it's accountability as much as it's awareness. Like you said, I don't. You know what? I never think about the carbon footprint of using ChatGPT. I just don't. I don't. Period. I don't often think about the carbon footprint of using my phone. I don't often think about the carbon footprint of ordering from Amazon. So if there's anything to take away from this, it's that, and I'll just speak for myself, I should try and be more aware. I don't know about more accountable, but can I, at the very least, realize that I have an impact on the world? Bill, I just want to share that Vic put in the comment, and I can really relate to this. He said, I recently bought a new chair that had some assembly required. I was grateful for the packaging that isolated the different parts, like separate poly bags for each size bolt set. And I completely agree with that.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't
If
know
you're
how
an
to
algorithmic assembler, that is the best thing in the world. I did the same thing with this build. I made little pots for all of the different A bolts, B bolts, C bolts, and if you're organized like that, it is great. I wanted to talk a little bit though about the concept that I'm increasingly aware of, which is friction, and that a lot of marketing is done now based on the idea of removing as much friction as humanly possible between the purchaser and the shipper. And this first hit me when we made that big transition into subscription models. Because I was talking to somebody and we came to the conclusion that by flipping the script on purchases so that instead of opting in to buy something, I'm going to go to the store and buy it, we're going to make them opt out. In other words, you're on a subscription. It's going to come if you don't do anything. That idea reduced so much friction in sales that the world jumped on that. And almost every intellectual property seller now wants you as a subscriber because they understand that if you get the flu and are down for 3 weeks, you keep paying them. And if you get hit by a car next week, it's probably going to be a year before somebody turns off the tap on your credit card. And this idea of friction between the urge to buy and buying is what everybody's doing. I think, Tamara, it's very much what you're talking about. You know, Amazon and these sellers who will be happy for a $10 purchase to bring it to your doorway and set it down for you in 3 hours has eliminated all the friction for you from the urge to satisfying the urge. And I just think that we ought to be talking to kids who are coming up, and we used to teach them the 3 R's, but I think there's another concept here about how some of these constructs make it easier and easier to spend more and more of your accumulated wealth or money and just let it slip out. I mean, I'm still finding things occasionally, you know, that Linda, before she got the 2 jobs she's had, you know, did a resume service. It was $4.95 a month. And I didn't quite know what it was coming off of and where it came. And that lasted for 8 months. Now, will that hurt me? No. $4.95 a month coming out for 8 months is not going to damage my life. It might damage someone else's life, but it happened. And it was just leaking, all this money leakage. And I don't think kids are anywhere near aware of the fact that that's how the system is getting set up. And they're probably predatory credit card people in all the colleges like there used to be when I was in college going, let me just sign you up for this, please. Don't mind the fact that's 23%.
Kids are talking about it more, though. If you look at TikTok, there's a whole group of TikTok of budgeters and people are putting money away. And these kids are like 18, 19, 20 years old. And my nephews are 20 and 21 and 17. They are way more budgeting savvy than I was at that age. They understand, you know, where they have to put money away. They're way more savvy than we are because they're having conversations. The Gen Z are having conversations about salaries. They're having conversations about where their money can go in ways that I never had those conversations, right? So I think that you know, there's a lot to say about what doesn't work with generations, but there are things that generation is a lot more savvy about than I think we give them credit for, and they're a lot less likely to buy and spend. But I do think in general, we have to really spend more time teaching to wait, teaching to, you know, that it doesn't have to be instant. So there are things that I buy instantly. Chances are there are things I probably really do need at that moment. The things that are bigger purchases that, like being, you know, with our office hours friends, and all of you are very expensive friends and you get me to buy lots of things. And I've been on a no buy, no spend, but I will have a list of like, okay, these are the things that I want or that I think that I'm going to need. It can wait much longer now, right? Because, and so that's the thing that we all have to do is get into a habit of not being, you know, I'm in the habit of if I want something, I put it in my cart or in my waiting list, you know, I put it in my later cart, and often I never end up getting it. So I do think you're right. We have to really we have to really instruct and do more work on being patient and not getting things instant gratification. The fact that I can get things instantly delivered the same day, that I might have to hop into the car and go run around town to see which of the stores has it, that absolutely 100% I'm not going to stop doing that, because I lose so much time parking and driving. And I will tell you, everyone came out of COVID, post-COVID, feral on the streets. They are not like, I do not know. Driving, I grew up with, my dad was a mechanic. I love driving. I've driven across the country. I hate it. I hate going to the store. I hate being in my car. Crazy things are happening out there. I am safer at home with my Amazon
I'm telling
account.
you, Tamara,
You've got the
Waymo.
wrong car.
100%.
Waymo. I'm just saying.
100% I'm safer at home.
John says that he this week asked ChatGPT to write a policy. It saved an hour of his time. It would have cost a lot more to pay him to write that. So, or to delegate it to an employee. So did he save or spend carbon? You saved money. You saved time.
I think
You may have
time in
spent
this
carbon.
economy is so valuable. Like saving time,
Yes, but
that's worth a lot.
sorry. Yes, and I think
Yeah, I
that
think
we
it's
now
an
live
and.
in an age where every ounce of time and energy and convenience that we save comes at the expense, at unexpense of our world. And I'm not saying that we should, give it up. I'm just saying that, again, we have to know that. Go ahead, Sky.
Well, I think as a conscious human, and this is my, I guess my inner Lois is coming out, that a hole that needs to be dug can be dug in a hurry by a bulldozer and a backhoe. But if you're in a part of the world that the humans with a shovel need to be paid, and they could make a living out of 10 of them, and it may take longer, but at least you're providing something for 10 humans. Now, this story comes from Haiti because I watched it happen. This story came from the Philippines where I watched it happen. And the conscious choices are, do you feed 10 families or do you dig a hole with a backhoe? And yes, it's efficient, but in the overall sense of humanity, I think there's a context there that we need to be conscious of. That's my inner Lois, and we're done.
Yeah, and Joe Cali is writing in here. There was a comment made earlier about how does this play out with the rich countries being the ones who are using all this carbon and expending all this energy at the expense of the lesser wealthy countries. And Joe Cali is asking the question about robots. When robots come along and they're doing all of this, and they're the ones working in the Amazon factories.
They already are.
They already are, but when they take over for good, then the amount of energy that's being spent is perhaps, I don't know.
The other story at the Boeing engineers told me, the machinist that retired, they said, well, Friday Howard's gone, and so give him a big celebration. Monday, all of a sudden, Howard starts getting all these phone calls from the manufacturing line. They said, we can't, the guys on the production line can't get the part to fit in the thing. He says, well, I left a Post-it note because on the part there's a flange that you have to trim off. I've been telling engineering about this for decades, but nobody would listen to me or do anything. So we just trim that little flange off and put the part in, and it works. So you just need to read the Post-it notes.
Last time I was here, I think I talked about the difference that Michael Cioni articulated about the difference between utility AI and generative AI, something that, makes your job and life easier. Nobody wants to be doing the math and things like that for simple things that a calculator can help you with. The idea, the generative part, trying to get close to replacing creativity and things like that is a little more problematic. But now that I'm in a community of people who are doing a lot of artistic work, voiceover work, drawing, all the rest of these things, it seems to me that there's a lot of chat about the idea that people are getting lazier about learning the fundamentals, and they're not going through this process of learning to draw before they try to make the grand painting. And I do have a growing worry that the friction being taken out of instant results by all these generative and large language model tools might end up making it harder to find people who remember what it was like to face a blank piece of paper and do something that is really spectacular. And I hope I'm wrong about this. I'm hoping that the new generation of artists, some of whom I'm working with on these books and other things that are very excited by it, that they manage to make that leap between technology and human feeling in a way that gives us something new. I'm just not completely sure yet that it's going to be this next generation, because I do think we're going to get less people for a while, just like we had less people who were employed when the steam engines came through, or when the slide rules got replaced with the calculators.
Yeah, we haven't even entered the period of transition. We are.
You may well be right, David.
Absolutely. Tony, do you want to jump in and give us a last thought? I saw the hand come up to the chin. You were about to do one of these, I thought, maybe.
Yes, I've heard everything that everybody said, and it's so valuable. I still think all of this goes back to the ethics, and by that I mean the technology is going to take care of itself. The robots are going to do the work. The AI is going to give us what we need in terms of knowledge and growth. But the character or ethics that we need as a society will continue to suffer unless we become intentional about that kind of thing. We are in a me society, and that is where we are. So those people who are worried about their job, they need to take a me moment and figure out what they can transition to. My suggestion would be something that you like and something that you care about. Create prompts. Each person has the ability to create a prompt that will be creative for them in terms of making it unique and special. If you are using your own ingenuity in terms of creating prompts, so creating prompts is a new job title that could be out there. I just think that we can continue to embrace the technology. Yes, there's going to be problems. Yes, there's going to be learning curves. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be all of these things that are happening. But there is an opportunity for wherever you are in life to jump on this bandwagon, embrace this technology in a way in which it can be enriched. Because the bottom line is, are you a contributor? Are you a producer? Can you use these new technologies to move your life forward? I don't know if most people are thinking that way, but AI is not going anywhere. And the automation of machines serving us in restaurants is already underway. So that is not going backwards. So you gotta think about, what can I do to future-proof or encourage my children so that they can be future-proof in terms of the world in which they are going to continue to move in.
And Tony brings us back to the Zuckerberg ideology of utilizing it to do something you care about.
I'll just say no generative AI has made me laugh and smile as much as that did.
Wait. Hold on, I have to pull you up.
There is
The
the young lady I talked
dog.
about.
That's
The
awesome.
Millennium Falcon, handmade
dog.
with Wookiee.
I love it. I love it.
That made me smile for days after I saw her.
Yeah, that's a great place to end. Thank you all. I'm so grateful to all of you for sharing some of your carbon footprint with the rest of us, and hopefully the value that we bring in these discussions offsets some of the energy that we're using from YouTube to host it and post it and things like that. We are here every Thursday night, and we're glad that you're here with us. Joe Callie, Laura is here. I saw Victor. Who else is here? John Snyder is here. Lois was
Snyder,
watching
cool.
before. Good to see everybody. Really, really grateful that you're all able to be here. Friends, thank you. Have a lovely weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time on The Rundown.